Welcome to our production of different topics that we think you should know about. This first topic is going to be about Donald Trump. We are here in Loxley, Alabama, and last month Trump, as part of his thank you tour for making him president, came to Mobile, Alabama. And the press for this whole thing has been absolutely horrendous. First off, he's our president-elect, they say. He's going to be our president in 3 weeks. And so he has been elected as the leader of this country. And so as the leader, he should be getting some respect, and we should be happy that he came to visit us. Even if we don't agree with what he says, he's still our leader, and we're supposed to respect and pray for our leaders and be under their authority. But he's just been getting a lot of flack. First off, the news coverage afterward, all they talked about was how he was going to build a wall. And the only reason they talked about that was because they gave the same amount of time to another group of people who came in protest. And they made their own fake wall using cardboard boxes and writing on there how he's not good with women or he's a bad person or whatever they wrote on there. And then they knocked down their little wall that they built. So that's the only reason they talked about Trump coming, so they could talk about that. And the funny thing is they put at the bottom, dozens protest Trump rally. Dozens, and it looked like from the thing about 25 people. So they give the same amount of coverage to 25 people and as they do to 20,000 people. But yet if I was to have a church service with 25 people in it, they wouldn't put me on the news to talk about let me put on there about how Jesus can save you from your sins. They wouldn't let me do that. But if someone wants to protest the president, they'll put that on there. And then the next thing they did was there was this big Christmas tree that they put in the background at the stadium where Trump was, and they were all up in arms about cutting down that tree. They decorated it for Christmas. Well, that tree there, more people saw that Christmas tree probably than millions of people saw. The 20,000 there, people are watching at home and people watching, all over the world that get to see it on YouTube or wherever. They could see that tree and get good use out of it. But no, we're sad that they cut down the tree. How dare they cut down that tree? And then the third thing they did was then they got on the news and they talked about how we paid money out of our own pocket, paid $58,000, the city of Mobile. That's taxpayers' money. How dare taxpayers pay $58,000 for this Trump thing? Well, first off, Trump is the highest official in our country. And so if the government pays for the highest official of our country to come down here, it seems like a legitimate government expense. And then they also didn't happen to mention that there were people who came from different states. There were people who drove, got gas there, bought food, bought souvenirs, bought the concession stands there, sales tax revenue, hotel revenue, gas tax, all these taxes, I'm sure with 20,000 people came up to well more than $60,000. And the city actually pocketed more money in taxes than they expended by having Trump there, but no one's going to report that.
Well, they also don't realize that when Trump went around to not every city, but to every state, to, different cities and so forth, people went to see him. So wherever he was, people probably drove from a good distance in hopes of seeing him. So like, my husband says, there's sales tax that was created. There were jobs even though they were temporary, there were jobs for people for the event. This is when before he became president. And then after he became president, he was giving money back to each state. He was creating sales tax revenue for each state, including whatever city he was in. So why they're complaining, the city of Mobile Alabama complaining, oh, we spent money, oh, this money was spent on him. It shouldn't have been spent on him. Hello, you just profited a buttload of money off the man. I mean, my husband said, you had hotels, you had restaurants, gas stations, you had people either renting cars, you had probably people even went out and bought, women went out and bought an outfit just to be seen at these events. Yeah, you looking sharp. Anyway.
Thank you.
So, he actually, there were buses, local bus company that were hired to transport people in and out of the stadium to locations to and from their cars. That's money into a local company, a small business that they received just for this one event, just for a couple of hours. And they want the city of Mobile, shame on you, Mobile, for complaining about making money. You're complaining, oh, we ain't got no jobs. Well, for a temporary moment of time, you had money. So shame on you, Mobile. Trump brought some jobs. May have been temporary, but you still got money in your pocket, I guarantee.
6 days after that Trump rally, in that exact same stadium, was the Dollar General Bowl. It was a college football bowl game. And so they had two teams there, of course, the stadium and all that. And they talk about how much money was generated by that. But yet, 6 days before that, they're talking about how much money they lost with Trump. So I don't understand how 20,000 people at this stadium to see Trump loses money to see the President of the United States, the most powerful man, arguably the most powerful man in the world, comes to their city, to that stadium, and 20,000 people show up and they talk about how they lost money by having the most powerful man in the world come to see them. And yet 6 days later, they have a bunch of oversized college football players piling on top of each other, and they think it's great and they made money. So I don't understand that.
No.
So it shows, and the bad thing is, this isn't a liberal area like California or New York. This Alabama is one of the most conservative states in the Union. Trump won every single county here. He had 60% of the vote in Alabama, higher than most of the states that he carried, is higher than most of those. So this is where his base is. He came to Pensacola, which is an hour away from Mobile, 3 different times in his campaign. He came to Mobile, Alabama, to kick off his campaign. It was his first rally. So here in an area where he's got about the most support is where they still criticize him, don't cover it, make him look bad, and talk about how he wasted money on this. So it shows how slanted the liberal media is, where they are trying to pass their agenda, and they don't like the fact that somebody outside of the political system has come in to change things.